Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Johan, and I'm a typical Dutchman, and I react to all kinds of video about life and living in the US and life and living in Europe, or specifically the Netherlands. And if you like this kind of content, reaction videos to the US or Europe, then please consider to subscribe to the channel. We're still growing and trying to get up to the magical 1,000 subscribers. And it would be really appreciated if you subscribed to this channel. And for today, we're going to take a look at this one from Mark Stache, of Stache. It could be, yeah, okay. Every podcast is wrong about European food. I was thinking, podcast, how can a So I'm not clear what it is about, why it specifically is a podcast. So, but I want to know what is wrong about European food. Why are they wrong? So either I confirm that the assumptions are wrong, or I confirm that the assumptions are right. I'm not sure what it's going to be. So, like always, I will be surprised what they have to say about European food.
Podcast got one thing wrong about European food, and not just a little wrong. And I mean the explanation they gave you. The gluten is different, the processing is different, the wheat is cleaner, the food in general is less processed.
But why podcasts? It's videos, it's... But okay.
They think they're gluten intolerant in the United States, and then they go to Italy and they seem to be okay. What's the deal with that?
In America, what we call bread can't even be considered food in parts of Europe.
It all starts with what they make the wheat and pasta out of. The wheat and pasta in the US may taste very similar to what you're having in Italy, right?
That whole thing, I've heard it across many podcasts. I actually heard someone in the gym talking about it the other day, and that's pretty much what sparked this entire video. In my head, none of that really holds up. So I went to Italy to find out for myself.
Okay. He went to Italy. So it's not European food comparison, but it's the comparison between where he lives in the US and Italy.
I ate pasta every single day. I had gelato. Pasta. I had croissants for breakfast like it was my job.
Croissants for breakfast. It's good, but a croissant, it's French-like. It sounds French-like. It's a French product, so croissant. But yeah, okay. You had gelatas, ice cream, and pasta. So all kinds of spaghetti, macaroni, pan, pizza. Yeah.
I was constantly snacking on pizza. I didn't hold back. I didn't gain weight. I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe about a pound. But I noticed.
I didn't gain weight. Okay.
Immediately, what could be a huge hole in this argument about how the food quality is better, so that's why people don't gain weight when they go on vacation in Europe. Because even though food in Italy is better quality, and food in general in Europe is better than what we have here in the United States, that's not what everyone is talking about. What they're trying to say is that the food quality is better there, so that's why they lost weight and felt better. So today I want to get into what I believe is the real reason why you can go on vacation in Europe and lose weight, and why you generally don't feel terrible eating bread every single day. And I think once I show you the actual numbers, you're going to look at your daily life just a little bit different and look at these podcasters in maybe a little bit different light. In the end, I also want to provide some tips and tricks on how I think you can have this same exact effect at home without traveling across the world. Not feel as bad for eating pastas and breads just like you might on your European vacation.
Okay, so it's more the discussion about Americans coming over to Europe, any European place, not specifically Italy, but to any European place, and they lose weight. And they say it's because of the good food, the healthy food that's they are eating. That's why they lose weight. And he says, well, that's not entirely true. So yeah, we went over to Italy and tried to confirm or deny this effect.
People who have been to Italy once and they come back to America and the whole secret to weight loss is grain sourcing. I understand why that story is appealing. It's a good story. You go on vacation, you eat what you want, you don't think about it, you feel like you're just eating loads of food, and then you come back and the scale is a little lighter. You don't feel as bloated or as bad. The obvious conclusion to that is the food is different. There's less toxins. In this story, there's a villain. There's someone to blame. You can say you can't lose weight, you can't feel good in America because of the food quality. You get to blame someone. But here's what no one else is actually checking. What else was different? So I want to show you some step count numbers because this is where it actually gets really interesting. The average American takes somewhere between 4,000 and 5,100 steps per day. That's it.
Average American takes 4,000 to 6,000 steps a day. Yeah, okay.
That's what multiple studies and smartphone data across hundreds of thousands of people have shown. The United States ranks 30th out of 46 countries measured in a Stanford study. Now what happens when that same American goes to Italy? Rick Steves, who literally runs European tours for a living, says the average American tourist walks between 7 and 12 miles a day. That's between
7 and 12 miles a day. Woo! Times 1.5. 12, yeah, okay. 20 to 25 kilometers? No, 7, yeah, okay. Between the 10 and 15 kilometers a day. Okay.
Between 15 and 25,000 steps a day. So if you go from 5,000 to 20,000 steps, you're burning somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 to 800 extra calories every day for a week, maybe 2 weeks. There's about 400 calories in a bowl of pasta, a European portion's bowl of pasta. Gelato.
European, yeah. Our proportions, not the American ones.
The small scoop you get while you're in Italy, maybe 250 calories. So yes, you ate pasta, you ate gelato, you ate all the bread, you lost weight, probably because you walked it off before you ever even sat down for the end of the night. And all of that math is equating something before we even talk about the stairs.
I don't know. You walk a lot more when you're in Europe, for sure. I cycle a lot, but I cannot say that because I cycled or walk a lot, because I cycle and I do walking, that I lost a lot of weight because I cycled or walked a lot more than usual. No. When I make the great cycling tour through Europe of 15 to 21 days, every day cycling, I don't gain nor lose much weight. Yeah, 1 or 2 kilos, but 3 to 4 pounds in 14 days or in 3 weeks. But I don't know if it's pure more exercise that is doing
Originally,
this.
I wasn't even going to make this video, but I did film a whole lot of Monica and I walking up and down stairs for fun because it blew my mind how much stairs we were walking. Nobody warns you about the stairs in Europe. I climbed more
Stairs in Italy. Yeah, Italy, not Europe.
stairs in a week in Italy than I probably do in 3 or 4 months here in Florida. The hills, the cobblestones, the fact that nothing is flat, the ancient architecture, all of that is burning calories more densely, constantly,
Correct.
without you even having to think about doing any exercise. Okay, so there's an actual term for this. It's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And it
Isn't that all neat? But it's neat. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. The energy you burn through all daily activity. Through all daily activities that aren't sleeping, eating, or structured exercise. Okay.
might be one of the most underrated thing in the entire weight loss conversation. NEAT is basically all of the calories that you burn doing everything that isn't sleep, food or structured exercise. Walking to your car, standing at a coffee bar, taking the stairs, or walking around a piazza trying to figure out which street you need to go down to find your hotel. That's neat. Dr. James Levine at the Mayo Clinic has been studying this for decades. What he found is that NEAT can be varied by two people of similar sizes by up to 2,000 calories a day. Not because one of them is training for a marathon and the other one's doing some other sort of exercise, it's just by how much they're indiscriminately moving, the incidental movements throughout their day. 2,000 calories, that is not a small number. That is the difference between gaining a lot of weight and losing weight eating the exact same diet. And here's the thing about Italy specifically. The built environment forces NEAT on you. In the United States, everything is designed to minimize movement. Drive-throughs, parking garages, office buildings with elevators, cities built around cars. I live in Orlando. It is a car city. You cannot get anywhere in the city without owning a vehicle. You can go an entire day in America and barely move. In Rome, in Florence, or in...
I hope that at Walt Disney you have to walk. And not drive through Walt Disney. Hey, Donald!
Pretty much any other historic city around the world, that doesn't happen. You don't have a choice. The city makes you move. You walk to the restaurant, you walk back from the restaurant. You walk between every literal thing that you want to see. You walk to the grocery store, you walk to the pharmacy. That's not a cultural virtue, it's just what the infrastructure demands. So when you come home from Italy and you're 2 pounds lighter, it was the city that did that to you, not the wheat.
Yeah, okay. I agree with him. You move a lot more in Europe than on average. I have to be careful here. On average in the United States.
Now look, I'm not going to just make this a numbers video. I think there is something else going on that data just really cannot capture. I have a friend that actually lives in Italy, so I wanted to give her a call and just talk to her about this subject. Emma Fontanella from Emma's Goodies. When Monica and I were in Italy, we visited Emma, and a couple of things that she said that struck me while I was there was her complex where she lives just recently got an elevator. So she was always taking the stairs before that. That's not something that you would typically hear here in the US. Pretty much everywhere has elevators now. She also goes to the park and walks regularly every single day. You would see people walking everywhere. That's
an aqueduct. Yeah.
only something that you really see in major cities in the United States. Even in some large metro areas like here or in Orlando, walking is really not a big thing. You have to drive to get anywhere. Now, we did talk about the food quality. It is different. She travels between the United States and Italy fairly often, and she understands the difference between treats. She is an Italian baker, and that's what she's known for. She did mention that the baked goods in Italy use far less sugar.
To like an Italian pastry or dessert or cake or cookie, the Italian one is way less sweet. Anytime I'm following an American recipe, I cut the sugar by half because it's a crazy amount of sugar in there. There's no need to have that much sugar in like cakes.
Yeah, and I know when I was in Italy and over in Germany, but specifically in Italy, there are a lot of sweets, like what I say for the one who really likes sugar, because the Italian food is has more sugar than some of the sweets that we have over here in the Netherlands. So, yeah. And if she said that in the US, there's even more sugar in it than the usual Italian one. Oh boy.
So no need to.
Wow.
The standard American cream is buttercream for cakes, right?
Yeah.
So that's like literally that's just butter and sugar.
Yeah.
Whereas in Italy, we have a lot of cakes done with pastry cream. Pastry cream, it's basically eggs and milk and either flour or cornstarch to thicken it up. But then like the amount of sugar, it's way less.
You can get a baked good in Italy and a baked good in the United States, and they are going to be calorically different. So that does matter. They don't have nearly as much as a sweet tooth as we do here in the United States. She also said a few things, and I'll let her talk about it, but truly, it is just different there as far as a culture.
Well, it's different, and I feel we also consume it differently. Perfect example. I don't have any ice cream in my freezer. Every time I go to my dad's in America, it doesn't matter if it's winter or summer, he'll have like tubs of ice cream in the freezer.
Oh, yeah. I have
So,
ice cream in the
It's
freezer.
interesting because it's interesting because then when he comes to Italy, he doesn't do that. So I think it's a cultural thing. Like you just, you eat differently. Like in Italy, if you want ice cream, it's like an event. You go out to have the actual ice cream.
Yeah, okay. Dutchman over here, I have ice cream in my freezer, but that's more out of an economical thing than it's actually a cultural. A lot of us, I want to say all Europeans, but I know over here in the Netherlands, we keep ice cream in our freezer because it's cheaper to buy 10 or 15 or whatever the package is from the supermarket versus going out and buy a freshly made ice cream, one for the price that you can get in the supermarket for 5. So it's more like we buy the ice cream to get in our freezer so that we don't pay too much when we go out. That said, there are also a lot of moments that I think, okay, I crave for some real ice cream, freshly made, then I grab one. But most of the time, I have ice cream in my freezer during summer days. So like now, this very hot period that we have over here in Europe, I have some ice cream in the freezer, but the rest of the winter period I don't. So, but it's more ice cream because it's a lot cheaper to have it in your freezer than buy it every time that you crave for it and go out and buy. So that's another perspective, but yeah. Most of us go out and have an ice cream at the ice cream shop.
I think, okay, that is the big difference I feel between America and Italy, is that food, it's a shared experience.
I asked her about snacking, and she had kind of a hard time answering some of these questions with snacking because it's not something that they typically do as much.
Okay, oh my God, that's a good question. Pizza bianca, which is like pizza, street pizza. Fruit, I'm trying to think what else.
Do you feel like you snack? Do you snack a lot, do you think?
That's the thing I was going to say. I think like the main meals are enough.
Okay.
We have.
Now, but they eat also later on the day. They eat around 8 to 9 p.m. Usually even some of them usually around 9:30 to 10 p.m. So snacking during the day, some candy and some fruit. Yeah. Over here in the Netherlands, I eat normally around 6 p.m., somewhere in that region, between 6 and 7 p.m. And then later on the evening, I do some snacking, as in I snack. If I'm not doing this, I grab some fruit. I have always fruit near me, or I grab an ice cream. But that's it.
We have aperitivo before dinner, some drinks with friends, and then you have olives or, again, pizza, or just like little tiny little food. How can I explain this, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's really no snacks. I mean, okay, if you're with friends and you're out, yes, you'll get the gelato, or maybe you'll get like a little slice of pizza. Again, like the one that, the one you've seen in Rome, the street one, like not like the whole pizza. Okay. If you're home, it's usually going to be like either fruit or maybe a yogurt, or maybe again, like bread, and you just like, you cut up the tomato and you brush it. Not brush it. How do you say brushing it? Hold on, let me just say. Rub. There we go. You rub it like on the bread.
Okay.
Okay, so you take a tomato, you cut it in half, you rub it on the bread, and then you just add some olive oil and salt. It's delicious.
And the processing is different.
I wouldn't necessarily say that the food is healthier in Italy. It's more that Italians have a healthier mindset towards food.
Here in the US, processed, prepackaged foods are incredibly cheap, where in Italy, the fresh farm
Yeah. Oh, what's
stand
wrong?
food.
Yeah. yeah, the ultra processed food in the United States versus ultra processed over here in Europe is a huge difference. I hear that a lot of people who are comparing the food in the United States versus food in Europe. Price-wise, it's more cheaper to make it your own, as it is in the United States. When we have fresh, and you want to have fresh vegetables or everything fresh, then you pay a lot more for them than when you grab some ultra pre-processed food.
Food is going to be the cheapest. It's going to be the easiest to get. Very, very different. So some of those arguments are incredibly valid. They do have better food. We can argue and push for higher quality food. It is a good argument. We should absolutely have the best quality food that we can get. But I do think there is a cultural difference that makes a huge difference on how we feel and our overall health and just general daily life. Because I don't live in Italy, and just changing the amount I move and the amount of activity I do, and also limiting some of those ultra-processed foods has made a difference in my life. So the food is a variable. I'm not going to take that away, and I know I'm going to get comments from people that skipped this part of the video. The food is 100% a variable. It's just not the main
That skipped this part of it. Yeah, okay.
one. Okay, so I want to talk about the gluten thing specifically because I hear this one the most. I can eat all the bread I want in Italy, but when I come home, I'm bloated. I get it, and I'm not going to tell you that's not real for some people, because clearly something is happening there for certain individuals. But let's talk about the real, honest version of what science actually says. American wheat does tend to be higher in gluten than a lot of soft European wheat varieties. That part is true. There is also a real difference in food additives and preservatives between Europe and the United States. But
What? The processed foods in the US contain an average of roughly 63% more artificial adjectives than... Oh boy! 63% more on average. Okay.
research keeps finding, when they actually study this, the incidences of celiac disease in Europe and the United States is similar. If European wheat was fundamentally safer for people with gluten sensitivities or intolerances, you would expect to see a difference there, and you typically don't. And one of the leading theories, this is a theory of why people feel better when they eat bread in Italy versus here in the US, is they're probably eating real sourdough, long fermented, naturally leavened bread. That is genuinely easier to digest than a lot of the store-bought breads we have here in the United States.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works in the United States, how bread is made over there, but over here, if I make my own bread, I sometimes do. I make my own pizza dough also, but I worked in for a brief weekend in a bakery. Yeah, the dough has to rise for about 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, before it's reprocessed and baked in the oven to actually a bread. And I'm not sure how it is in the United States, but according to this guy, it doesn't work that way in the United States. So I'm not sure what's the real difference, but yeah. It takes, when you make your own bread from scratch to baked on your table, ready to eat, it takes about roughly 5 to 6 hours. All in all, making the dough, rising the dough, forming it, baking it, and then put it on the table. Yeah, roughly 6 to 8 hours you can count on, yeah.
That's not a European thing, that is a fermentation thing. And you can find a lot of that naturally fermented, naturally leavened bread here in the United States. It's going to be at your local baker, sometimes at your grocery store baker.
Publix bakery soda round bread, $5.75. 16 ounces. Now I know the 16 ounces because we talked about it a couple of videos ago, is about 3 kilos. Roughly, am I correct? Something like 1.5 kilo? 16 ounces? Damn. I've seen so much. 16 ounces. Oh yeah, 160. Okay, 16. Half a kilo, give or take. Half a kilo. On average, over here in Europe, if you go to a bakery, real bakery, not in the supermarket where I buy my bread, but to a real bakery, you get a round of bread like this, and it's probably more heavier than half a kilo, about 2.30 maybe max, but about €2.10, €2.19. So 5.75. Damn.
A lot of times you can find it frozen. I've talked about that here on the channel. That's specifically something that I get a lot of. When you go on vacation, you're typically not buying the cheapest off-the-shelf products like you would here in the US. You're not buying the overly processed white bread. You're probably getting something from a deli or a quick little bakery stand. That is going to be better quality. A big reason for that is cost. Again, having a phone call with my friend, their overly processed foods tend to cost more. In the US, that is reversed, unfortunately. Which again, I'm saying, I want to be clear, the science on the gluten myth is genuinely unclear. For me,
yeah. Sadly, he did not take the prices of bread in the bakery that he was visiting, because I saw croissants, I saw other kinds of small bakery products laying there, like there's the small breads, for 150 for 4. Usually they go on 4 for 150. So
me, when I was in Italy, breakfast was typically a croissant or some sort of small baked good, not something that was overly sweet. It was something simple. Lunch was pasta or a Roman pizza. Dinner was more pasta or more Roman pizza. At some point during the afternoon or after dinner, we would have a gelato. When we went out with Emma, that was the first thing that we did. We went and got gelato. My steps, I was hitting 20 to 30,000 steps a day, every single day. Wow. To put that in perspective, my normal training days for a marathon sometimes don't
oh, he trains usually for a marathon. Oh boy.
hit 20,000 steps a day. I was just doing that. Just walking around a lot, looking at old stuff, taking in a ton of actual staircases, and I felt great. Not because the pasta was different. I was fueling my body with the food based on the movement, and not intentionally. I was eating actual meals without snacking, sleeping well, and genuinely just not sitting at my desk for 8 hours a day, editing videos like this. That's the Italy effect. That's pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah, if he's doing marathons, then he's more aware of what he's eating than anyone else. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so here's the part that actually matters. And I want to spend some real time here because I think this is stuff that you're going to actually be able to use. You don't have to move to Rome or constantly be on vacation. You just need to change your intention a little bit. You can recreate that effect at home. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be enough to move the needle, which is the most important part. You can set a goal, whatever works for you, somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 steps a day. There's been tons of information out about how the 10,000 steps really isn't a legitimate number anyways, but it just helps to add more steps. It helps to have a specific number or a target to hit. Research is pretty clear that benefits do start around the 6,000 step mark.
Yeah, I said the 10,000 step is not the number anymore. I believe he said 5 to 7. Yeah, when I do a walk, I walk usually between the 10 and 15 kilometers, so about 8 to 10 miles. But if I don't, yeah, the general target is about 8,000 steps that I aim for if I'm not cycling.
So if you're at 4,500, you don't need to triple it, you just need to add a little bit more. Just close the gap. That's all we're gonna try to do here. So here's how you do that without actually turning your life upside down. Pace intentionally. This is one that I started doing the most. When you're on the phone, don't sit, don't lean on the counter. Stand up, pace around your office. Just walking back and forth a little bit throughout the day will add a couple hundred to 1,000 extra steps a day. If you're somebody that spends 30 to 60 minutes on a phone call, you can add 1,500 to 2,000 steps in a single call. That's
Okay. Walk around your cubicle.
without even thinking about it. That is a huge chunk of your life that you have taken and moved from sitting to movement, and that will make a difference. Same thing when you're waiting for something. Coffee brewing, start pacing. Microwave, start pacing. Standing in line somewhere, just shift back and forth. Anytime you would otherwise
Are you nervous? No? Why are you pacing so much?
be standing still, try to consciously add a little bit of movement. Most step trackers will count any sort of movement that mimics walking, so if that's just doing something back and forth, you'll be able to track it and see the difference. 2, break up sitting. This one has actual research behind it beyond the step counting conversation. Long, unbroken periods of sitting are a metabolic problem even for people who are constantly active. When you diet or restrict calories, your body reduces NEAT. It's unconscious and it's done to conserve energy. That can reduce calories by up to 200 to 400 calories a day, changing your calorie deficit. But the reverse is also true. Constantly building in small amounts of movement. Those little breaks throughout the day will keep that NEAT furnace burning all day long. You could set a timer if you need to. If it's not something that you can consciously do, just set a 45-minute timer. Stand up, move around a little bit, then get back to your desk. Walk.
Yeah, it's what some people say, and there are specific screensavers that you can build in your computer that say, oh, you should, you're now, there's 15 minutes, so go to the copy machine and get something, or go and grab a coffee. Or so they actively remind you with a screensaver to do something. It's yeah, it can be.
Walk after dinner. This one specifically has loads of research behind it. Post-meal walking has a measurable positive effect on post-meal blood glucose levels. Probably said post-meal too much there. In Italy, the after-dinner walk is actually a cultural thing. Pretty much everybody does it. Not because they're trying to burn calories, just because
Wait.
blood glucose levels. Probably said post-meal too much there. In Italy, the after-dinner walk is actually a cultural thing. Pretty much
They are wearing a jacket. So this is not something that's been done in the summer. You really have
everybody does it. Not because they're trying to burn calories, just because that's what you do after you eat. Now, this one's on every list. If you can, take the stairs every single time. If you can. I know it's difficult for some people, but it's on every.
Yeah, you worked in a skyscraper on this 22nd floor. Go by the stairs. It's good for you. Sorry.
List because it works. Stairs are
But you can take the elevator to the 18th and then walk up from the 18th to the 22nd. And you start with taking the elevator to the 20th and then walk up to the final 2 stairs, something like that. You can do.
Calorie dense in a way that flat walking just isn't. The elevation change recruits more muscle burn with every single step, and that makes a difference. Now this one I started doing immediately in my weight loss journey. It was one of the very first small little tweaks that I added, and that is parking farther away, sometimes much farther away. If you add a bit to every errand you run, every time you go to the pharmacy or CVS, you could easily add 2,000 extra steps in a day. And that might be the difference in regulating your blood sugar or falling asleep better. I will always park in the farthest available spot in the grocery store.
That's right. Over here in Europe, I see a lot of people trying to get as close as possible to the entrance of the shop they are going to prevent that they have to walk, oh my God, that they have to walk 10 meters to get their groceries. A lot of even stop at the entrance of the shop, and then the woman gets out while he is parking the car somewhere on the parking spot that she doesn't need to walk that much to the entrance of the shop, the grocery shop, or whatever shop it may be. So yeah, it's I guess it's normal for a human being not to move as much as possible.
This next one is the one that kind of got me into running, which is walk while you think. A lot of people's best thinking and problem solving happens while you're moving. If you have a problem to work through, a decision to make, something you're trying to figure out, don't sit at your desk and stare at the wall. Get up and walk. You'll think better and you'll get some steps.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct, because you're walking, or like I do cycling, you get your blood pumping, and because you're blood pumping, you get more oxygen to your brains, so you can think more clearly and better than when you're sitting at home and looking at the wall. Yeah.
And this last one is, if you work a normal job, make your lunch break count. A 20-minute walk at lunch can add about a fifth of your daily recommended steps. Most people have no idea what their actual step count is, and most people actually overestimate this. I've done this.
20-minute break for your lunch? I've seen dozens of videos about managers complaining that somebody takes a 10-minute break to actually eat, and then they're not at their desk. How can you be not at your desk? We don't take lunches over here. Yeah. Let's be that you take a 20 minutes walk out of the office. It's not fitting in the work culture that there is in the United States versus what we have over here in Europe. I would say the Netherlands, but the Netherlands and Europe, that it's more than normal that you have a lunch and then you go, especially when it's good weather, then you go outside and walk another 10 or 15 minutes together with your colleagues, talking about whatever is on your mind, and then go back to work. Yeah.
This before with family quite often. I ask them how many steps they think they're getting. They say 10,000. We look, they're getting 1,500 steps. On average, before people start tracking, they tend to get around 4,500 steps per day. But once they start tracking, they feel accountable. You are more likely to have that farther walk to the grocery store, parking a little farther away. Your phone is doing it in the background, so meaningfully look at it, and you will start adding steps consciously to your day. You can add an extra 2,000 steps just by being aware. Go look at your health app literally right now. Pull it out, pull your phone out and look at it right now. Your number might surprise you. Leave a comment.
Yeah, I know, because my phone is lying right here on my desk, and I walk all day around in my house. So those steps, because I don't bring the phone everywhere I go. There's a phone in the house and that's it. So I do not know how much steps I take.
Let me know, I'm curious. And then here's the thing about all of these for getting extra movement. Not a single one of them is a workout. None of them require you to go to the gym. It's just move a little more than you're moving now. And it's going to make a difference. You will see it. Stack small.
Yeah. That's what I see sometimes around me, because I've got several gyms and fitness studios and all day training centers, etc., that people take the car to get to the fitness center or to the gym, do their stuff, walking back to the car, and then getting from the car to home. And it's fun. Why? If you start with walking from home to the gym, do your stuff, and then walk from gym back to home, you do already a nice exercise. But people taking the car to go to the gym. I know in the United States, walkable cities, not everywhere. So I get it. That's not as easy as said as done in the United States. But over here in the Netherlands and most of Europe, you can actually just walk to your gym, do your gym stuff, and then walk back.
Things, let them add up over time. It's exactly what I did. It's how it changed my life. That's the Italy effect that you can recreate at home, minus the.
Oh, wow. he really lost some weight. If I see if that was previous, then yeah, running make it to a marathon, yeah.
And honestly, if you're hitting 10,000 steps a day, get the gelato. Now look, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that
Get the gelato. It's ice cream.
Italian food is identical to American food. I hope I made that clear. Gang, if this video made you look down at your step count today, that was the point. You don't need a cleaner gluten. You need to move more like if you're in a lost city exploring all new places. But not eating that, just adding a little bit more movement every single day will make up a difference over time, and constantly adding to that dial will make you feel like a whole new person. If you want to see more like this and be motivated to find the life that I've been able to find after my weight loss, stick around, click the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know the comment section is already blowing up. I can feel it. Let's just keep everything calm. Everybody has their opinions on it, so it's okay. My whole goal here is to motivate, and I hope to do just that. So
Okay. Nice video. Not the video that I expected it to be, but because I was expecting a video about comparison, what European food is and what wrong or different. Now, when I specifically say wrong, but what is different in the United States food, because besides all the chemicals. So I was thinking, well, what is wrong about European food? But he's not talking about what is wrong about you, but the podcast is wrong about what they think that the effect is of European food. And I thought, okay, but now he's talking about more exercise, that's always good. And yeah, let's see what the comments say, because you think the comments are going crazy. As an Italian living in the US since 5 years, I believe the real reason are eating habits and food proportions. I agree. No, in Italy, we are not constantly on the move, and not everyone goes nuts also for meal. However, we are not constantly snacking, and we're not constantly surrounded by sugary, calorie-dense foods or free refills of your Coca-Cola. Many people eat pasta every day, but most of the times it's with some simple homemade sauces or veggie rather than cream and cheesy. Yeah, okay. One last difference is the quantity of alcohol consumed. It's quite common to have a beer or wine, but most of the times it's limited to one. Okay, that's, yeah, I don't drink alcohol at all. So I don't drink beer, I don't drink wine, I don't drink any kind of alcohol. So I cannot do this, but yeah. Next one, it's probably a combination of those things. Yeah, a lot of comments coming on there. As a European living in the United States, as a European living in the United States, go to the grocery store. In the EU, turn over a loaf of bread, and its flour. What is he talking about? Go to the grocery store in an EU, turn over a loaf of bread, and its flour, water, yeast, salt. In the United States, It's okay. And the punctuation in this sentence is horrible. So, but he said that in the EU, the bread is flour, water, yeast, and salt, and in the United States, is 1 billion ingredients. You don't even know what's in it. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, okay. Nice video, not what I expected, but still a good comparison between life in the US versus life in Europe. But yeah, more tend to eat healthy and move a lot, walk whenever it's possible to lose weight if it's about losing weight. Yeah, okay, nice video. And if you like this kind of content, then maybe this is a good recommendation to see as next. And otherwise, it would be really appreciated if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.